Having taken a look at some larger models, I became drawn to a smaller model that could well go equally as quick and cost a fraction of the price, the WLtoys Vortex A959B. The WLtoys A959B is the new version of the super popular 1/18th scale brushed WLtoys 959 introduced 3 years ago. With this new model, the motor has been upgraded with a new advertised top speed of 70 km an hour. That's insane for a vehicle of this size. Hopefully it'll still drive reasonably well at lower speeds too. Alongside a user manual and a small plastic wrench, we find the vehicle itself. The A959B is designed as an off-road buggy, and with big wheels and studded tyres it should be able to handle some rougher terrain too. It's a primarily nylon design with a plastic chassis which helps keep weight to a minimum, although I would have preferred a metal chassis for increased strength. We'll see how the plastic holds up over time. Anyhow, we get this nice large spoiler on the rear, held on with 2 body clips, and a rather attractive canopy. Why it has headphones written across the side is anyone's guess though, but nevertheless we can remove 2 tiny body clips that hold it onto the chassis and reveal the internals. Straight away we see most of the chassis space is taken up by this beefy brushed motor. The powerful air-cooled 540 unit takes the relatively lightweight buggy up to 70 km an hour in just a few seconds. Well advertised of course. The monitor is designed for a long life to improve the overall durability of the buggy, although seems a little oversized and overpowered for the rest of the vehicle, so we'll need to see how this performs later. Anyway, the large motor is powered by an ESC which seems covered, so it's difficult to see which model ESC it actually is. Even so, we have a nice large and easy to use power button beside it, and talking of power, we have a velcro strap holding in a 1400 mAh 7.4 volt LiPo battery, which should provide around a 6 to 8 minute runtime, albeit after a 2-hour charge. This squeezes neatly into the battery tray and connects to the ESC via a T-connector. Nice and easy. The final piece of the puzzle is this small plastic servo, which seems like a cheap plastic model, so I'm not expecting it to be super precise, although it does link to the steering linkage via metal ball-headed screws. It's not all plastic though. We do have a metal drive shaft, which is an upgrade over the previous plastic version, as well as metal dog bones and drive cups, although there are no bearings to be seen in the wheel end. Just bushings, so care should be taken to oil these regularly or upgrade them to proper bearings instead. Sticking with the wheels, we have a soft compound rubber glued to the plastic rims. Very lightweight, although very soft, so we'll need to see whether these balloon too much at higher speeds to be of much use. Nevertheless, we also have independent shock absorbers on each corner which can be oil filled. In fact, I'd recommend it since in stock form they do feel super soft. Too soft, especially if you intend to do any jumping, in which case you can expect the chassis to absorb most of the energy. All in all though, it's a pretty impressive buggy considering the budget cost. What I do like about this model is the fact that there are plenty of spare parts available should you break anything, or should you wish to upgrade parts and make a stronger overall buggy. Moving on to the transmitter, well it's quite basic but enough for the task at hand. Space for 4 AA sized batteries in the bottom, a power button just above, and a pretty comfortable hand grip with the throttle and brake trigger all being comfortable to use. We even have some foam around the steering wheel adding to that overall comfort, but I really do not like these trim buttons. I'd rather have dials for more precise trim control, especially when it comes to steering, although otherwise the transmitter feels pretty much okay. So with a fully charged battery, this thing runs like a rocket. Clearly it's more adapted to run on a super flat soft surface to enjoy the full speed, but to be fair, even then it's relatively hard to keep it in a straight line. And unfortunately the steering direction with that weak cheap servo isn't precise enough to run long and far at full speed. The accelerations are huge though, thanks to that large powerful motor bolted onto an otherwise lightweight buggy. It's probably overpowering the rest of the vehicle, so some upgrades could very well help. If you're into tweaking for higher speed, this is certainly a model you'll want to consider. On some rougher terrain like loose soil, gravel or short grass, handling suffers even more. It's drivable and you can still have fun, but don't expect top-end speeds. The buggy will likely spin out before you even get there. As mentioned, fortunately replacement parts and upgrades are readily available for this vehicle, so another positive in its favour. After a run, be sure to inspect all rotative parts. Even if the main spur wheel is fully covered, if a small amount of sand enters, it can be fatal for the car. All in all, this is a nice little buggy, and fast too. If you're looking for a speed demon but are on a tight budget, this is really well worth a look. Handling suffers when mashing the throttle though, but with replacement and upgrade parts readily available online, it's hard not to recommend.